Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
A narcissist will use their old trauma, their old childhood. They'll use someone else's trauma, old childhood, to be able to use it in a way to pretend and to show this fake vulnerability. Like, I'm vulnerable because I'm sharing this deep, dark secret. I'm vulnerable because I'm sharing all these things that happened to me in the past. Many times narcissists will do this to try to make you think and feel that he's actually vulnerable. Majority of the time, it's not true, because he's not able to show depth and vulnerability and emotional depth in the relationship now. He's just trying to tell you stuff in the past, oftentimes to make himself look like a victim and to make you be there to try to help him or to try to fix him over a long period of time.
My goodness. Oh my gosh. More? Yes. Listen, I'm like a relationship investigator. I'm going to find out all of the goofiness that is being perpetuated against us. And the reason why this is important is because I believe we go into relationships blind, right? I mean, think about the enhancement bias, right? The enhancement bias says, you know, because if we like somebody and we're dating somebody, and because we like them, we will minimize the red flags and we will aggrandize the green ones because we are invested in the relationship. Now, what's interesting about the enhancement bias is that in the early part of the relationship, people who are surrounding the new couple have a clearer take on the viability of the connection because they're not invested, right? And so what's so interesting to me is We live in a society that swears they're real. What do you mean, Zoe? People keep it real. I don't like fakeness. You know, I'm real. I'm solid. I'm straight. And unfortunately, that's just not the case. And this leads us to our topic tonight, which is a very interesting topic. Tonight's topic, the vulnerability mask. Is your vulnerability rehearsed? A deeper look at why we intend to heal, but rarely do. What is a vulnerability mask? It's a real thing. Has somebody put on a vulnerability mask to soften you up, to get closer to you, to get you to put your guard down? Come on. Only to find out later it was all an act. The vulnerability mask operates as a psychosocial hologram, a quantum entangled performance where trauma survivors and narcissists co-author emotional deep fakes. What? Yeah. It felt good while they were performing. It felt good while they were soft-shoeing, right? Neuroscience exposes its blueprint, right? The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex activations craft curated confessions, while atrophied anterior cingulate pathways starve relationships of raw truth. It's a performance. Wait a minute. I'm going to fake like I care. I'm going to fake like I'm interested. I'm going to fake like I'm affected by this deep story you're sharing, just so we can get an oxytocin boost or to feel like, hey, this is the real one. They listened to me. They heard me out. Bandura's social learning theory reveals the mask as mimicked theater. Empathy rehearsed, not felt. Metaphysically, the mask constitutes a karmic algorithm, according to Queen Afua, ancestral avoidance patterns encoded in epigenetically. This is Yehuda's work, right? As healed aesthetics. What does that mean, healed aesthetics? Somebody who looks the part. Somebody who's got a yoga mat. Somebody's wearing a white robe with a turban. Right? They have healed aesthetics. They got the henna art on their hands and feet. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence manifests here, suffering repackaged as wellness content. Rumi quotes weaponized to sanctify stagnation. Clinically, oxytocin's betrayal emerges here. Bonds forged through neurochemical scams, according to Zach's trust matrix, where faux vulnerability addicts, right, partners to relational NFTs, non-fungible traumas traded as intimacy. Folcott's biopower thrives as capitalism monetizes the mask. Instagram affirmations become the new opiate. Unmasking demands quantum revision, according to Goddard. Right? Yes, you have the power to overwrite, to rewrite, to recontextualize these narratives. How is it that the fake can fool you? It happened to me. This is a real question I had to ask myself. How is it that the inauthentic, right, can fool us. Typically, if we didn't get something in childhood and somebody comes along and does a good enough job of pantomiming and faking what you didn't get, what you've always been looking for, you tend to take it. Wow. Yes, you get to rewrite all of this. Fake vulnerability? How does one do this? Why is this a thing? Why are people like this? Well, if relationship is a mirror, that mirror has to reflect back to you whatever shortcoming, psychological shortcoming, emotional shortcoming, traumatic shortcoming. A shortcoming is merely a setup for the grow up. And this is why relationships are so beautiful in this context. Right? If you're chasing vulnerability, right? I want to be vulnerable. I want somebody to be vulnerable with me. Listen to what I'm saying here. That is a shortcoming that has to be overcome. How do you do it? You recognize that vulnerability is intimately interwoven into self-acceptance. As you are. Many of us take the same tactics we use with our mask and we take it internally. Well, let me perfect this. Well, let me adjust this. Let me work on this. Let me tell you something about healing. Healing is wholeness. That's what it means. If I'm healing, I'm whole, right? We already talked all week long about individuation, becoming a whole person. Well, the part of how to do that is through self-acceptance. You can't accept yourself if you're judging yourself, if you're condemning yourself, if you're negatively speaking about yourself to yourself. It's a struggle, right? So guess what happens when you invest in the mask? This is how I want people to perceive me. This is how I want people to accept me, right? You invest in the mask. Guess what you attract? You attract the lesson that is designed to exacerbate what you're not working on so it could rise to the surface of your consciousness so you can become aware of it and then claim it without judgment. I know, a mouthful. Easier said than done. But that is the purpose of relationships. You get exposed to you so you can turn around and then empathize with you. Right? Empathize, love on, accept. Right? It's a hard thing to do, but it must be done. Neurochemical con games. How vulnerability masks, right? The mask, this vulnerability mask, and narcissists hijack oxytocin to sell false intimacy. Goodness gracious. What? It's a real thing. If I make you feel comfortable, wait, let's go even deeper. If I've on a vulnerability mask, are we truly in a safe space? Because everybody wants to use the catchphrase, safe space. Is this a cognitive safe space? Is this a performative safe space now because you're wearing a vulnerability mask? And the only reason why I magnetized you into my life is because I'm not totally vulnerable with me. What does the word vulnerability means? Vulnerable? From its Latin roots, it means wound. It means pain. So if we're spending most of our time running from pain, and we need self-vulnerability in order to turn off this faux vulnerability that wound attracts. Do you hear what I'm saying? You can't be vulnerable with yourself, but right? You want somebody to be vulnerable with you. You're literally calling it in. That's what I wrote in my 2019 book, The Shrouded Lighthouse. You have two lighthouses, metaphorically, within your spirit. One represents what is visible to the naked eye, your aesthetic, your vibe, your sense of humor, your personality, your character, right? Your talents. These are things that are readily visible to anybody. But the light spectrum has a larger portion of the spectrum that contains dark light, X-rays, gamma rays, infrared rays. This is still light. This is the light spectrum. It's just that our eyes can't pick it up. That correlates to Carl Jung's shadow. So you have a shadow lighthouse that functions the same way as a normal lighthouse. What do lighthouses do? They call wayward ships back to shore. Your shadow lighthouse calls wayward lessons, wayward generational curses, wayward generational curriculums back to the shores of your soul for reclamation. Fake vulnerability, neuroscience, emotional fraud, oxytocin, narcissist brain hacks. Man. Bandura's social learning theory explains mimicry of empathy as a manipulative skill, the mimicry of empathy. If I act like I care, if I act like I give a damn, I can get a little bit further. I can get close to my objective with this person. Do you see? It's a heavy concept tonight. Faux vulnerability? Fake vulnerability? A mask? A vulnerability mask that functions like Carl Jung's mask, the persona? You mean the persona of vulnerability could be lurking in our relationships? Who are you married to? Who are you connected to? And what are they reflecting back to you that must be healed from within? I'm very interested to know. The phone lines are open. The number to dial, 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this. Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique Dupree Prima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our Black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you. Love you.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is from my number one. This is from my number one. Yeah, this is from my number one. I can love you better, baby. This is hard to say. I wanna make sure I go about this in the right way. Cause lately I've been busy a lot, and I know you don't feel appreciated and whatnot. I used to tell you that your hair looked fly, kiss you slow and stare in your eyes. Now I talk real foul and slick. Every other sentence is you make me sick. Back in the days I was your number one pick. Now your heart's half broken and that's hard to fix. I had to dig deep inside myself, cause I can't see you bouncing with somebody else. It's a long journey back to the place we was, when I was too embarrassed to admit I was in love. And you was my good girl that wouldn't give it up. I can't let her self-destruct.
Baby, smile today, cause I've been imagining more ways. I'm gonna love you better.
You have said that vulnerability without boundaries is not vulnerability. What do you mean by that? I'm not sure I understand.
When I go work with organizations, sometimes I'll hear someone say something like, how often should I cry in front of my team? And I'm like, oh my God, like that's not what I'm saying. Vulnerability is not about self-disclosure. Like I know leaders who never cry, who are very vulnerable and transparent. And I know leaders who cry all the time. Vulnerability is great. Fake vulnerability, because vulnerability seems to be a thing right now, that pisses people off.
Well, you know what I don't like about Western society, Western culture? They take spiritual concepts and then try to put them into like this Western box. Spirituality, by definition, has no definition. I need you to understand that. Relationships are inherently spiritual, right? I know you don't, listen, no one's ever said this, and this might be counterintuitive, to the prevailing thought of the time. But relationships are inherently spiritual. This is why they trigger psychosomatic wounds that are still in your being. The reason why you're being triggered, the trigger is the exact same thing, right, as the bell at school ringing, letting you know it's time to get back to class, or letting you know when class is over, or letting you know when it's lunchtime. That, you remember that bell ringing? A trigger brings it to your attention, right? Why is it coming to your attention? For reclamation, right? Like Neo in the Matrix, the hero of the Matrix. What did the architect tell him? Oh yeah, you're like the sixth savior for the system. And then after you do your job, you come back here and we assimilate your code with your experiences back into the Matrix. Do you see? You're supposed to get this information from relationships about yourself and use it to reconstruct yourself from the inside out. Vulnerability is a spiritual practice that strengthens relationships with others, but it also strengthens relationships, or the relationship, with yourself. Vulnerable, right? Capable of being wounded. That's from the etymological root of the word. Capable of being wounded, circa 1600s, from late Latin, vulnerabilis, wounding. It means wounding. And it is an essential part of loving. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You have to wound your ego mortally in order to break free of the scaffolding it has created. The scaffolding that holds your ego up is your sense of self. I know you don't want to hear it put that way. Right? What vulnerable also means from the 1700s. Open to attack. See, let me explain something to you. There's self-vulnerability, where I have to be vulnerable with me, honest with me, transparent with me. And me doing that to me, with me, might hurt. More than likely, it will hurt. But then in relationships, I got to do it all over again. Open to attack. Wounding. This is what the word vulnerable means. And you mean to tell me there are people out here who have mastered fake vulnerability? They wear a vulnerability mask. When we come forward, the fire is only going to get hotter.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump has signed a proclamation banning travelers from 12 countries, including Afghanistan, Iran, Haiti, Somalia, and Sudan, citing security concerns.
The strength of the restrictions we're applying depends on the severity of the threat posed.
The move came after Sunday's anti-Semitic attack in Boulder, Colorado. A judge is warning Sean Diddy Combs to stop making faces at jurors during his sex crimes trial in New York City, threatening to remove him. A woman known as Jane testified she was coerced into sex acts and said she and Diddy called each other Bert and Ernie. He's pleaded not guilty to all charges. And a new Wallet Hub study is ranking Minnesota among the worst states for racial equality in education, just above Wisconsin. The report looked at graduation rates, test scores, and college degrees earned by Black and white Americans in all 50 states. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Enjoy a revolutionary shopping experience. Wild Fork Foods Meat and Seafood Market has unbelievable prices with impeccable quality. From farm to freezer, premium meats and seafood, everyday grocery staples, and meal solutions. Visit wildforkfoods.com.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready? Drop it!
Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Well, check it out, baby. Make it hot, baby. Bring the drama, yeah. Yeah. Def Jam. Make it hot. It's our first time together and I'm feeling kinda horny. Conventional methods of making love kinda bore me. I wanna knock your block off, get my rocks off, blow your socks off, make sure your G-spot's
I'ma
soft.
call you Big Daddy and scream your name. Matter of fact, I can't wait for your candy rain.
So what you saying? I get my swerve on, bring it live, make it last forever. Damn, the kitty cat's tired.
Daddy, slow down your flow. Put it on me like a G, baby, nice and slow. I need a roughneck Mandingo and a sack who ain't afraid to pull my hands from the back.
No doubt, I'm the player that you're talking about.
But do you really think that you can work it out?
I guarantee you, shorty, it's real. Baby, stick it out. Here comes the man of steel.
Doing it and doing it and doing it well. Doing it and doing it and doing it well. Doing it and doing it and doing it well.
I represent Queens, she was raised out in Brooklyn.
Doing it and doing it and doing it well. Doing it and doing it and doing it well. Doing it and doing it and doing it well.
How to be more conscious of someone not truly being vulnerable in the future. Relationships, okay? If someone is frequently sharing their past trauma and hardship early in a relationship without discussing their current feelings and needs, it may be an indicator that they are not genuinely being vulnerable. True vulnerability involves being open about the present emotions and experiences. A person who is conscious, a person who is consistently blaming others for their problems and avoiding taking responsibility for their actions is not truly being vulnerable. Genuine vulnerability includes acknowledging our own role in a situation and emotions, how to be more conscious.
Come on now. Men, we've been raised a certain way to kind of suppress and reject our feelings and not deal with emotions. Has society taught us to wear a vulnerability mask? Because when I break down behavior, right, and especially when you're talking to women, when it comes to men and women and intimate relationships, you ask women, what speaks louder, words or actions? Women will, 9 times out of 10, right? 9 times out of 10, I think. You ask them, behavior speaks louder than words. And then I say, well, there's something that speaks louder than behavior. And they say, well, what speaks louder than me? I say, intention. A man's intent for why he does what he does. Could society be the ultimate culprit for men's general inability to process emotions? Our emotions. Emotions. It's not good to be emotional. I explain to women, a man's intention for what he does for you is directly connected to your intuition. And oftentimes one of the gravest sins a woman can commit against herself is to ignore, right, her intuition. Sometimes you're in a situation with a person, does everything you need him to do, looks good on paper, shows up right, but it's all fake. It's a performance, right? Acts like he cares when you're talking. Did society make men, force men to wear a vulnerability mask? I'm not going to lie. I struggle sharing my emotions. And at this big age, I finally, over the past maybe 10, 15 years, a few more emotions are coming out or whatever. But for the most part, it's been a struggle. You heard what Shaquille O'Neal said recently on a podcast when he said, never reveal your true feelings to a woman. She's only going to weaponize it and use it against you. Remember he said that? Very interesting stuff. How might perfectionism act as a shield against vulnerability? Right? That's heavy, right? How might perfectionism as a shield against vulnerability contradict Carl Rogers' concept of unconditional positive regard? And what neural pathways reinforce this contradiction? If cognitive dissonance, right, Festinger, acts as a psychological immune system, how does it paradoxically protect the vulnerable mask while attacking authentic growth? Can calculated caring, Dove's psychology of fraud, mimic altruism so precisely that even the manipulator believes their own narratives? Let me make it make sense in layman's term. How many times has somebody told you they loved you throughout the damn relationship and then discarded you as if you never mattered? They act as if they never knew you. How many times at the end of a relationship have you said to yourself, damn, was it all a lie? Let me read that question again. Can calculated caring, because people try to act like they don't employ this tactic. Oh, I'm not a narcissist. Oh, I grew up in a nice, I had a nice family, and we had all of this together, and I come from good stock, and use a lie. Use a straight up lie. Can calculated caring, Dove's psychology of fraud, mimic altruism so precisely that even the manipulator believes their own narrative? When self-sabotage aligns with prophecy, right? Seligman's learned helplessness, does it transmute into a perverse form of self-preservation? How does Jung's shadow work demand ego death, and why might the psyche prefer the familiarity of rehearsed vulnerability over this annihilation? Okay? Nobody's off the hook. Right? Authenticity hurts a lot of people. Why? Because to be your true self is to accept your whole self. But you can't accept your whole self because there are parts of you that you loathe. There are parts of you that you despise. How many people bait people with faux vulnerability? I had a young sister tell me maybe 10, 15 years ago in Arizona, she says, you got to flirt in order to convert. She was talking about how she low-key flirts with men in order to convert them to her agenda. That's what? Baiting for supply. If baiting for supply handles trauma to triumph, mirrors dopamine-driven addiction cycles, what neurochemical payoff sustains the mask? Can validation-seeking behaviors become so ritualized that they mimic spiritual practices, empty of meaning but rich in routine? Boy, when I come forward, I'm going straight to the phone lines. I want to talk to people tonight.
Relationships. Got you confused? Need some straight talk? This is where you get the unfiltered truth about love, relationships, and everything in between. He breaks down relationship dynamics with no-nonsense wisdom and practical advice that actually works. Tackling the questions you're afraid to ask and giving you the answers you need to hear. You're inside the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now, no more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Go ahead, Daddy.
It's a Queens thing, baby.
I wanna dance with you.
Track masters, rock on.
We be doing it real.
Baby, yes, rock on. How you doing, miss? My name is L, I'm from Queens. I heard about your man, he like the late sugar green. Dolce Gabbana Moschino with Donna jeans, but he slipped up and threw his rock to a fiend. He be playing like a willy cause he dressed shit up, never knowing that his woman is in need of love. We got Versace, gold link, stomach chains with rocks. Official hairstyle, but you stuck up in the spot. Making love, Duke is weak, then he falling asleep. You on the phone with your old peeps, dying to creep between my sheets. So what you got Chanel on your feet? Hot sex on a platter makes the mission complete.
I know you think I opened up, but I didn't. I gave you the pieces of me I could afford to lose at the casino. Low risk, high return, and enough to end the conversation. But access to me, family, that was still denied. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm Eleanor and this is Dismissible Me, where I speak only about dismissive avoidant attachment from the perspective of someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Let me know where you are watching from down below. And be sure to check out the playlist, my second channel, and my Instagram. All of my links are down below in the description box. And getting right into today's topic, how I learned to fake vulnerability as someone with a dismissive, avoidant attachment style. And number one on my list is I learned to fake vulnerability by sharing facts and not feelings. Sticking to the facts, not, diving deep into how I felt about a situation or what I was thinking or what I was feeling.
Wait, pause. I don't know if y'all really paying attention, but she's giving up the playbook. Be careful of them logical lovers. Be careful of them linear, logical lovers, man. Let me tell you something. Unconditional love, the reason why they say it's the highest form is because there is no form. It's unconditioned. You're conditioned by your attachment style. The coping mechanisms that came out to deal with the attachment wounds, all conditions. Back to Krishnamurti. My mission is to set men unconditionally free. This is a woman who is confident about what is her norm, not to judge. But if you listen to her, she is giving you a playbook of manipulation that is designed to keep her feelings safe. Has nothing to do with anybody she's interacting with. Can we start that from the top?
I know you think I opened up, but I didn't. I gave you the pieces of me I could afford to lose at the casino. Low risk, high return, and enough to end the conversation. But access to me, family, that was still denied. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm Eleanor, and this is Dismissible Me, where I speak only about dismissive avoidant attachment from the perspective of someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know where you are watching from down below, and be sure to check out the playlist, my second channel, and my Instagram. All of my links are down below in the description box. And getting right into today's topic, how I learned to fake vulnerability as someone with a dismissive, avoidant attachment style. And number one on my list is I learned to fake vulnerability by sharing facts and not feelings. Sticking to the facts, not, diving deep into how I felt about a situation or what I was thinking or what I was feeling, but keeping things surface level. I understand that opening up means details. Being vulnerable means giving you the details. And so by keeping things vague or by telling you, parts of my life that I'm comfortable with telling you, that's keeping things at a very surface level. So because you don't know me, I'm a stranger, you think I'm being vulnerable with you, but really, I'm not. This is information that especially if it's in the beginning, this is information that I'm not really worried about. I don't want to say I'm indifferent about it, but nothing that I'm telling you would be enough for you to trigger me in any sort of way. It just isn't. Like, I'm not going to give you something or information or tell you something about me that you could easily weaponize. Come on now. We're not going to do that.
Hey, listen. Hey. This is why it's important for you guys to get books on attachment theory, In 2025, everybody should know something about their attachment style. Maybe you go to therapy, have a therapist walk you through the process so you could discover your own. You need to know attachment styles, and then how the various insecure attachment styles, 4 attachment styles, only one of them secure, 3 of them insecure, and the insecure attachment styles are attracted to each other. Sheesh. They're mirroring each other in some way. This is a person with an insecure attachment style. The woman you hear speaking is on her video wearing a ski mask. This is how she navigates the world. Anybody with an avoidant attachment style has some type of apprehension or fear or reticence when it comes to intimacy because they didn't get it in childhood, or they were shut down in some way in childhood. Emotionally shut down. The full spectrum of their emotions were not allowed. So they went internal and became what? Independent. I'm a self-soothe. So now, because that imprint was made, anytime in adult relationships, because you carry your adult attachment style into your adult relationships, when it's time to be intimate, they recoil. Truemonger just called avoidant types with the insecure attachment styles that are framed by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth. He just called the avoidant types spiritual condoms, spiritual prophylactics. Relationship is inherently spiritual. Vulnerability is a type of intimacy. It is crucial to cultivate intimacy. Vulnerability for self, vulnerability for the partner, vulnerability for the union. It's part of it. It's a spiritual prophylactic. And she's confident with it. She identifies with it like it's a zodiac sign. No, the attachment styles can be rewritten. This is part of individuation. This is part of healing yourself. Nah, this is an enterprise to date someone who conforms to the toxicity that she is. Are y'all hearing this tonight? Faux vulnerability. Fake vulnerable. A vulnerability mask. I know I said I was going to the phone lines. I'm going to have to get you guys on the other side. When we come forward, the voice of reason will continue to light this thing on fire.
I do what I gotta do. I wanna laugh with you. I do what I gotta do. Jewels and Cristal got a Mac and funny style. He ain't watching you, he rather watch his money pal. Can't protect treasures when it's in a glass house. Soon as he turn the corner, I'ma turn that out full blown. Frontin' in the 6 with the chrome, yo B. Why you leave your honey all alone with me? Just because you blessed with cash doesn't mean your honey won't let me finesse that. She see the moral of the story is a woman need love. The kind your so-called players never dreamed of. You got to try love, can't buy love. If you play your hand, then it's bye-bye love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump has signed a proclamation banning travelers from 12 countries, including Afghanistan, Iran, Haiti, Somalia, and Sudan, citing security concerns.